Thanks for tuning in to the Disembodied Screams podcast. Those returning, thank you. Those new to this podcast, welcome. Now let's get started. This episode is the new format, the new way I'm going to do stuff from here forward. In case you are wondering or in case you've noticed, don't have a big audience, so now's the time to do this. So if you notice, there is a new format and a new style, so I hope you do enjoy it. And if you were kind of checking in, you saw this movie stuff and there's no more movie stuff. Well, I decided just to focus solely on heavy metal music and heavy metal artists and horror aspects of heavy metal music exclusively on this podcast. I just don't want to do with movies anymore. I want to just streamline it. I got like 10 artists I want to dive through their entire discography. And I'm going to go through those and then just do some little sidebar artists as well along the way. So enjoy. Go ahead and follow, subscribe, do all that jazz. And if you enjoy it, leave me a review. And, I'll keep going and we'll grow this thing together. All right. Let's get into Terrasite. Love this album, by the way. Death Atlas was my first foray into Cattle Decapitation. I heard Bring Back the Plague, and I was hooked. And I don't usually listen to extreme music, heavy metal music, but Cannibal Corpse was one of my few I listened to years ago, but I've gotten heavy into extreme metal like this. And thank you, Cattle Decapitation, for opening up a world of metal that I truly love to listen to right now. And I'm going to go through some of those. Fulci is one of those bands I want to dive into a little deeper. I've really fallen into. And of course, Cannibal Corpse. And now that I'm no longer on YouTube, I can get into Cannibal Corpse because I'm on the podcast platform. It may go on YouTube eventually. I don't know, but I'm kind of done with YouTube. I've been doing it for a bit. So, all right. I watched the Terrasite documentary last night, the making of this, and a few things stood out to me other than just how cool the band seems. Travis especially seems like the one that keeps everybody loose. The drummer, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he also seems like he has a really good sense of humor. So I think those two guys probably keep the levity in the group. But watching Travis do those vocals, he goes from this like chill sort of surfer dude to these extreme vocals, and he's just like back to chill surfer dude. It was so fun to watch, and just to watch his vocals and see how he does stuff is just so fun to watch. Just an amazing talent. He's like the lead singer of Lorna Shore. Those two, him and that guy, I think it's Ramos, is that guy's name? I can't think of his name up from Lorna Shore. Just amazing what they do vocally. I mean, if anybody ever thinks metal is not, what's the word I'm looking for, not talent, watch stuff like this documentary, and you will see how talented it truly is. It's probably one of the most talented forms of music out there. Really, any form of rock and roll is probably very talented because a lot goes into the songs and the drums and guitars. But anyways, Travis was awesome. Love watching his stuff. I love watching the guitar parts, watching his guys. Just if you're on Spotify, you can see this, but they're just doing their hands. I don't know how they do their hands so quick and turn them like that. Ugh, that looks painful. And then watching the drums too, getting the drums laid down. The drummer in this band is one of the most phenomenal drummers that I've ever seen and ever heard in my lifetime. And I'm a big Rush fan, and I love Neil Peart, and I think he does an amazing job. And this guy does an amazing job in Cattle Decapitation. Just the stuff he does is just incredible. So get a chance, check out the Terrasite documentary on YouTube if you haven't already. Just a really fun thing to watch. So moving on from all that quick intro to the album information from Apple. And it goes like this. And I thought this summed up the album perfectly from Apple. It says, a grimly immaculate use of death grind as environmental protest music. I mean, yes, it's exactly that, through and through. Wikipedia had this to say about it. Terrasite is the 8th album by Cattle Decapitation, released on May 12, 2023. I've seen they actually have 10 albums. There's 2 before To Serve Man. I haven't really listened to those yet because I'm not sure about them, but I'll probably dive into those eventually as I run my way backwards through the albums. What I'm going to do is start with the latest album and work my way backwards. So I think a lot of people, they work, first to back, but I'm going to go the other direction this time because I want to do something a little bit different. So, okay, what else does Wikipedia have to say? Background on this is interesting. Terrasite was recorded in Denver with producer Dave Otero. And Dave, I saw him on that video, looks like a really cool guy. He just looks like a really cool, chill guy. And he seems like he knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff. Just prior to the start of recording, Gabe Serbian, founding member of Cattle, died. During the 2.5-month recording session, the band played a tribute show to Gabe in Austin, Texas. Show looked great. Saw a bit of that on the doc too. Travis Ryan left the recording studio in Denver to attend Gabe's memorial service in San Diego, and he got COVID on the way home, which also delayed the recording. This was done during the COVID times. The loss of Gabe, combined with the death of their friend Trevor from the Black Dahlia murder, sent the members of Cattle spiraling. And Travis described the experience as the roughest recording session ever. And he says that in the documentary, the roughest recording session ever. So that's just a little background from Wikipedia. I thought that was kind of interesting. Personnel on Cattle Decapitation. Travis Ryan on vocals, one of the greatest metal vocalists I've heard in my lifetime. Josh Elmore on lead guitar. Belisario DiMuzio, I think's how you pronounce that. Let me know. Comment on Spotify. Rhythm guitar. Or email me. I'm going to use my songlines and tanlines@gmail.com email for this podcast. So that's me. It's just my old Buffett podcast. That links back to that, but it's a more use for this one too. So, all right. Oliver Pinard, bass, and Dave McGraw, drums. He's shown me things on the drum kit that I did not know was humanly possible. And Dave is a true standout and highlight to this band. Love his stuff. All right. Additional personnel, Tony Parker on keyboards and Dis Potter on keyboard, synthesizer, and percussion. And here's another reason why I love Cattle Decapitation. I mean, this is like a death metal, death grind, whatever you want to call it kind of band. They bring in keyboards. They bring in synthesizers, for goodness sakes. I mean, you don't see that in a lot of these kind of bands, man. And singles. I was surprised. I wasn't going to do singles for this new format, but I was like, there's singles for this album. And I was really surprised by that. We've got We Eat Our Young, released February 16, 2023. Scourge of the Offspring, March 29th, 2023. A Photic Doom, May 12th, 2023. And another song that has planted me firmly in the Cattle Decapitation camp, Solastalgia, which I cannot pronounce. I heard that song. After hearing the one from Death Atlas, and then hearing this one, I was like, dude, I'm into this, man. This is awesome. I want more. Feed me more Cattle Decapitation. They're awesome. I love them so much. And that song was released on October 26, 2023. All right. This is the part where I'm getting into the track listing, because I love these track listings in these songs. These death metal artists, they just come up with some outlandish titles that I truly love. As a horror fan, I loved some of these titles, man. And let's start with track listing. Terrasite Adaptation. Can't pronounce some of these words. We Eat Our Young. Scourge of the Offspring. The Insignificance. The Storm Upstairs. And The World Will Go On Without You. A Photic Doom. And Dead in Residence. And then you got the big boy on this one, Solastalgia, which is one of those that's probably top 2, top 3 Cattle songs for me, because they really truly put me on the band. And in Just Another Body, the last one that closes this out, I have gotten really into that song lately. I love the way that song closes with Travis's kind of cleanish vocals at the very end. Oh man, it's so good. You know, if you can't get into Solastalgia or Just Another Body from this album, then this ain't your band, because those two songs are just absolute fire. As long as the rest of the album too is just fire. So that's the track listing. And now this part of the episode is I'm going to dive into the horror aspect of this, because all these death metal bands have a tremendous horror aspect to their music. Even bands that you don't normally assume. Like I was listening to the New Testament album recently, and they got a song called Shadow People on there. I mean, that's like a very horror one. It's not a very horror album, but that song is very horror related. And this album cover, man, Terrasite is an awesome album cover. I like to rate them on a scale of 1 to 6, like 1 being Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, 6 being Freddy's Nightmares. And this is a straight up 6. I mean, from start to finish. Album artwork is by Wes Ben Scotter, I think is how you pronounce that. This Terrasite, man, it looks like a human termite to me. It looks like something just came out of this human being and is just this, I don't know, this creature that looks like a human termite. I've heard cockroach before too, which is close to it as well, but it's got the arms and the legs and the antennae and its grotesque face. And I mean, if this is what humans adapt into, no, thank you. I don't want no part of it, but it's just truly grotesque. It's a beautiful cover. Love the look of this cover, man. It really pops and really stands out. So, yeah, on a scale of 1 to 6, it's an absolute 6. And songs, the songs, I gave it a 4 because I think the songs, there's some on here, like the first one, Terrasite Adaptation. We Eat Our Young sounds very horrific. Scourge of the Offspring sounds very horrific. Aphotic Doom sounds very horrific. Dead End Residence. I mean, so I'm going to give that a 4, the song on that scale of 1 to 6, a 4. And then the title itself is another thing I want to get into. So cover, songs, and title will be the horror element I'm looking at in these albums. Terrasite, I'm giving it a 4 because if you look up the term Terrasite, according to Google AI, if you can trust Google AI, who knows anymore, Terrasite has 2 main meanings. First, it is a neologism. I cannot pronounce these words. These boys are smarter than me. Coined by the band Cattle Decapitation to mean an earth eater or land devourer. I mean, that's horrific. Used metaphorically to describe humanity's destructive impact on the planet. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add up the 6, the 4, and the 4. Get a number there, divide it by 3, and then a scale on 1 to 6, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Freddy's Nightmare. How horrific is this album? It's a 4.7. So it is really leaning harder towards Freddy's Nightmares than in the other direction. So, and I can't wait to get into the rest of their stuff too. They have some stuff. Humanure is one that, God, I love that album cover. That is one of the greatest album covers I've ever seen. I mean, Iron Maiden has some amazing album covers, but that is up there with some of the best I've ever seen in my lifetime. I just love the look of that cover. And that album's solid too, and the title is solid too. Humanure, great title, great title. All right, that's it. That's sort of the new format. If you are interested, just let me drop anchor here and close out this episode here. Working out the kinks, working out the bugs in this new stuff. But if you like what you hear, don't forget to tap the follow button if you haven't already. If you do enjoy doing it, don't forget to rate and review this podcast wherever you can do that. I think you can like on Spotify as well. And you can leave comments on Spotify. And again, that email address, songlines@gmail.com. I have a Buffett podcast called Buffett, Jimmy Buffett, 'cause I'm a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. If I'm not rocking at the Cattle Decapitation, I'm listening to Jimmy Buffett or that kind of style of music. So it goes to that podcast. But I'm going to put all my podcast stuff on that one email. So feel free to send me albums that you know of that have horror spins to it, your favorite albums, maybe I can cover them in the past. I've got 10 bands that I set aside that I want to get into as long as this podcast runs. Cattle, Ice Nine Kills, Fulci, Lorna Shore, Cannibal Corpse, Dragon Force, Sabaton, and Monomarth. And I picked Dragon Force, Sabaton, and Monomarth because there were 3 of my go-to bands back in the probably the 2010s to about the 2015s, and I kind of fell off a little bit with them. So I want to go back into them. I know they're not real horror related, but this is going to be about celebrating metal as much as it is celebrating horror. So I really love those 3 bands, and I want to get back into them. And I'll see if I can find some horror in them. I think Sabaton's latest album has a pretty cool looking horrific album cover to it. So great album too. I've listened to that recently. And then Iron Maiden, of course. I mean, the OG, Derek Riggs, Eddie. I mean, come on. That's horror through and through. And, I'm going to throw in some Alice Cooper, some Slayer, some bands like that too. Because Alice Cooper, like Constrictor, I'm going to do that one eventually because that snake around his head at the front. Cool stuff. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you do, just follow along and go listen to Terrasite today. And, let me know how great this album is because it is a great one. Take care. Have a good one.